Today is Tuesday, October 15th, year of our Lord. Nice job. Did you know it was Tuesday?
No.
I thought about this morning when I was doing my in the gym morning thing, and I was wondering how many of like the kindergarten, first and second graders, at what point do you start to realize At what point do you start to realize, I know you know the days of the week, but at what point in your life did you start to realize like what day it was? Like I was pretty confident if I went up to a kindergartner or a first grader today, I would have said, hey, what day, what's today? They would have like maybe not known it was Tuesday. What point in your life do you realize like the day of the week it is? Or some of you, have you reached that point yet?
No.
Some of you, when I just said that, were like, yeah, what day is today? Jordan? Oh. Hey, Jordan, just smile and it'll be all right. You want to go get it? Yeah. Spencer has 4. Thanks, Rach.
I knew what day it was. It's Friday, and everyone was happy.
So even when you were young, you knew what Friday was for sure. Because you knew it was the last day of school for the week. And then a few years ago, you knew when it was Wednesday because of the famous commercial. Hump Day! Right, Kara?
No, I don't even know when I told her that it was.
Did you not know it was Tuesday?
I only know because literally my Fitbit, if you tap on it, it says Tuesday the 15th.
All right, here we go. All you had to do yesterday. Whoa. All you had to do yesterday was number 3. You had, right? Or 2 and 3? Just 3? Okay. All you had to do was translate their English into an algebraic equation. The sum of a number divided by 6 and -5 is -2. Oh, by the way, before I get started, Jade was so observant. She knew it was time for the 5th grade to finally hear. Guy goes into the pizza shop, Lauren, listen. Listen.
About the 8 and 12.
Guy goes into the pizza shop, Preston, and he says, I'd like to order a large pizza. And the baker says, okay, would you like that in 8 slices or 4? You better make it 4. I can never eat 8. Why is that silly? Why is that silly? Why is that silly for that guy to say that? He says, I want to order a large pizza. The guy says, you want that in 8 slices or 4? And he says, oh, you better make it 4. I can never eat 8. Why is that a silly response? Go ahead, Preston. What?
That's not really a large, in my opinion.
Okay, Preston, I don't know if you're thinking you should play along with me to make this actually funny, but Preston, no, bud. It's silly because it's a large pizza. Whether you cut it in 8 slices or 4, he could have said, do you want that in 16 slices or 2? And the guy would say, oh, you better make it 2. I'd never eat 16. Well, if you ate 8 out of 16 or just 1 out of 2, it's the same amount, right? Or if you eat 6 out of 8, it's the same as eating 3 out of 4. Right, Lorelai? Lorelai's like, oh, that's what it means after all these years. She's going, I'm just kidding. Yes, Nate.
It's silly because he didn't tell him what kind of pizza it was.
Yeah.
It could have been that hard.
Oh.
It could have been pepperoni stuff or plain cheese. You never know. Or vegan.
I knew that.
It could have been vegan.
All right, what'd you get? Dominic, translate. The sum of a number divided by 6 and -5 is -2. Translate that for me.
X divided by 6.
Now, how am I going to write x divided by 6 in the most convenient way to write it? Can somebody else suggest a different way to write x divided by 6 in a more concise, convenient way? Yes? Fraction bar is the division sign, Dominic, so I'm going to do this. X divided by 6. Keep going.
Times -5.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. It says the sum. What is a sum? Sum is the answer to a what? No.
Oh, no.
Sum is the answer to what operation? What arithmetic operation is the sum an answer to? Adding. So we're looking for the sum of a number we don't know yet. Sum of a number divided by 6. The sum of that number divided by 6 and
5.
that doesn't say 5.
Wait. Okay.
Says negative 5.
I did not have negative.
What am I going to write for the word is, Ethan? The word is. What do I write on paper for the word is? Equals. Ready? The sum of a number divided by 6 and negative 5 is negative 2. I hope that's what you wrote. If it isn't, no problem. Today's Tuesday. It was the first time you tried it. Let's do it again. Ready? The sum, you're going to add something, of a number, we don't know what it is yet, the sum of a number divided by 6 and negative 5. I'm going to keep saying it over and over, and if you disengage your mind, that's on you. You can't blame me for not explaining it. Ready? The sum of a number divided by 6 and negative 5.
How does it equal 2 though? Like negative 2.
Because that's what they're saying it is. The sum of a number divided by 6 and negative 5 is negative 2. Now they want you to solve it. First you had to write it though. And I'm not done saying it because there's no way all 26 or 29 of you get it yet. You're just learning. The sum, I'm going to add something. What am I going to add together? A number divided by 6 and negative 5. What represents the number that I don't know yet? X. The sum, which means I'm going to add something. What am I going to add? A number divided by 6 and negative 5. Did I say it enough times? No. The sum of a number divided by 6 and negative 5 is negative 2. Now we got to solve it. Did anybody write it correctly? Okay. Did you solve it? What'd you get, Bella? Negative 18? Let's see. What do I got to do to this negative 5? How do I get rid of the negative 5? Right now I'm adding negative 5 or subtracting 5. So how do I get rid of negative 5? I add 5. How do I get rid of a negative 5? To get it back to 0. Add 5. What must I do to this side of the equation? Add 5. So now I'm left with x divided by 6 equals 3. You with me?
Yeah.
How do I get rid of the 6? Multiply by 6. X equals 18. The sum of a number divided by 6 and negative 5. How do I get rid of a negative 5? If I take negative 5 and 5, I put 0. Beautiful. That's what I want. I want nothing attached. X is 18. Did I do it right? What's 18 over 6? What's 3 plus negative 5? Negative 2. 3 plus negative 5. What's 3 plus 5?
8.
Listen, 3 plus 5 on the number line would get me out here to 8. 3 plus the opposite of 5, instead of going to the right, the opposite is going to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Does that make sense? 3 plus 5 would give me 8. 3 plus negative 5 3 plus, whoa, the opposite of 5, go the other way. Go the opposite way, yeah.
Why can't you multiply x times x? Could you do that?
X times what?
Like, how do you know if you can do 6 times x over 6? Like, how do you determine that you can do that?
Okay, read this with me. X, what's the fraction bar say?
Division
Okay, so X
divided by 6.
divided by 6. How do you undo division?
You multiply.
Okay,
But then why couldn't you do x times x over 6? Because that's the same thing, right?
no, X over 6 times X over 6 is X over 6 squared. You're not getting rid of the 6 at all.
Why do you want to get 2?
Because you want to get, listen, why do you want to get rid of the 6? Because your goal, your mission is to find out what X is. The whole point to solving these is to solve for the unknown. X is the unknown. Look, we know what a 6 is, we know what a negative 5 is, we know what a negative 2 is. We don't know what X is. That's our mission. Encyclopedia Brown. Did anybody read that? Does anybody even know who Encyclopedia Brown is?
I read all the books. I read them all.
Alright, so we're like, we're investigating. We want to know what X is.
I know.
So we got to get rid of everything attached to it. We undo everything they've done to it. Go ahead. No, look. I'm multiplying 6 over 1. Cross cancel.
Oh,
1x over 1. Anything over 1 is itself. Make sense now?
yeah.
All right.
I was confused.
Beep, turn the page. All right, let's match these up. You don't have to write anything yet. Ready? Zacchaeus, this one's on you. Number 1, top of the page, 126. What letter are you going to match with this English? He's not even ready. Rachel, the sum of 3 and a number is 16. Choose A, B, C, or D. Which one you matching that with? Everybody be thinking in your own mind, see if she gets this right. The sum of a number and, the sum of 3 and a number is 16. Is it A, B, C, or D? D as in David? Yes! She seems surprised at herself. Number 2, the product of 3 and a number is 16. What are you matching that with, Elise? C. Everybody get that? See? See?
See.
See?
I see.
Do? Number 3, Preston, the difference of 3 times a number and 12 is 16.
It's 2.
I'm sorry, 2. The difference of 3 times a number and 2 is 16. Yeah. You see why?
Yeah.
When you see the word difference, what operation are you thinking? Okay. So you're going to subtract something. What are you going to subtract? 3 times a number. They didn't use X this time. They used N. How do you write 3 times N? You write them right next to each other. The difference of 3 times that number and 2. Does everybody understand that's 3N minus 2? The difference, subtracting 3 times a number and 2. And what goes for the word is? Equal sign. Is 16. And number 4, of course, don't just say B because that's the only one left. Look at it, David. Why does it make sense that the product, David, product, what operation you thinking?
Multiplication.
Multiplication. The product of 3 and twice a number. You see how they did that? The product, we're going to multiply 3 times twice a number. Well, what's the word twice mean? 2. So they wrote 3 times 2. They could have written X, N, R.
He needs a hospital.
Chiropractor.
Like Trace.
Chiropractor.
I think we can't have school today.
Okay. Next one. Bicycle rental. You got to choose A, B, or C. which equation underneath that story problem fits? Brett. The rental shop charges $5 per hour plus a fee of $10 each time you rent a bike. $5 per hour plus a fee of $10 each time you ride a bike, and you've got $45. Which of those equations underneath that fits that problem? A. Cam, you saw that? 5 times H for each hour, plus the $10 you have to pay as a base fee, equals $45 you gotta spend. They don't ask you to solve it, they just want to know how to write it. Are you ready? Your job, 7 through 20.
Is that on
Yes, and I am right here, as usual, to answer the plethora of questions that will be coming my way. Oh, no,
My favorite book. But never read. Normally, yeah, book right next to the binder. Good box.
so you've already had to, oh, you already moved. I thought this was the second time you had to leave class. Okay, raise your hand, make sure you're quiet so that I can explain your pain away.
Some people wrote all over this. Like they wrote all the things that were
Because they're bad. You're not bad, so you won't. No questions yet? Everybody's breezed through number 7 already, no questions.
No. I don't know. Probably already need a question.
I think 27 is 5 times 3.
No.
Yeah.
Right.
Maybe it's addition.
Listen, you got 2, if you read the directions, you got 2 jobs. Write the equation, solve the equation. Has anybody done with number 7 yet?
No.
Okay, that's why I'm here. All right, if you've done number 7, hopefully this affirms your answer. Ready? The sum, I'm going to be adding something. The sum of 5 times a number, don't know what the number is yet. I think I'm going to use X this time. The sum, I'm going to be adding something, of 5 times a number. 5 times a number. I don't know what it is yet. I'm going to make it X. The sum of 5 times that number and 4 is 9. Again, the sum, I'm going to add 2 things together. What am I adding together? 5 times a number and 4 is, love, is the equal sign, is 9. Now my job that I've written the equation is to solve it. 2-step solve. Minus 4 leaves me with 5x. Got to do the same thing to both sides. Leaves me with 5. Divided by 5, divided by 5, x equals 1. Am I right? 5 times 1 plus 4, 9. Bingo, done. The sum of 5 times a number and 4. I got to just keep beating it like a drum to your conscience. Ready? The sum of 5 times a number and 4. I had a feeling I'd be up here. Now listen, I'm going to continue doing them until I get a sense that you're like, let's just have them do them. Because how's that benefit you, right? Number 8. 7 subtracted from, let's see, I'm going to subtract 7 from something. Now wait a minute, before I start writing down. If I'm going to subtract 7 from something, is it going to look like 7 minus or minus 7? Raise your hand. If I'm gonna subtract 7 from something, am I going to be writing 7 minus something, or is it going to be minus 7? It's going to be minus 7. Well, what am I subtracting 7 from? I'm subtracting 7 from the quotient of a number and 2. Quotient means division. Where's Dominic? What's the most convenient, concise way to write division, Elise? Fraction bar. Fraction bar is a division sign. So I know I'm going to be subtracting 7 from something. I'm subtracting 7 from the quotient. Right, Dominic? Because the easiest way to symbolize division is with a fraction. I'm subtracting 7 from the quotient, division, of a number and 2. I'm going to use n this time. I'm stopping there. Subtract 7 from the quotient of a number and 2. Can I hear an amen? No, some of you are not, you're not fully engaged here. You're just kind of looking at me. Your ears, you're listening, but you're not hearing. You're looking, but you're not seeing.
I'm looking and I see, and I'm hearing you talk, and I hear you talk.
Right. And you hear me about as well as Charlie Brown hears his teacher.
Oh, yeah.
Wah, 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 wah.
Doesn't hear his teacher?
That's what he hears.
Okay.
And you still understand.
All right.
I know
I'm subtracting 7 from the quotient of a number and 2. And then it says it is -6. Subtract 7 from what? The quotient of a number and 2. It's a division problem, gentlemen. Now I got to solve it. How do I solve it? Kira, I got to get rid of all this stuff that I have attached to n, because at the end I want to know what n is. I want to know what x is. I want to know what n is, right? First thing I got to do is get rid of this -7. Jaden says, how do you undo -7? You add 7 to both sides. So now I got n over 2 equals 1. -6, -6 degrees, it went up 7 degrees, it's now 1 degree. You with me? How do I get rid of the 2? It's n divided by 2. Multiplied by 2. They cross cancel each other. Leaves me with n over 1, just n, multiplied by 2. Did I do it right?
Yes.
Let's see.
Yes.
What's 2 over 2?
1.
What's 1 minus 7?
-6.
Now it's -6 degrees out. It was 1 degree and it went down 7. It's -6. I did it right.
How did you get to? If there's a.
Because when you multiply, listen, you can't multiply fractions unless you have 2 fractions. The rules for multiplying fractions are to either go whoop, whoop, or you can cross cancel. So I got n over 1, n. I could have gone 2n over 2. 2 divided by 2 is still 1n. You said okay. You didn't mean it.
No.
All right.
Okay.
If there's a number like 9 on the quiz tomorrow, do we have to use algebra? Wait, we have a quiz tomorrow on this?
You gotta use
I
algebra.
swear. It's
Tina.
quiz over this. I'm not hard.
There's a quiz on what we've done so far in chapter 3.
Yeah, you'll fail.
Actually, you know what's going to, hold on. Cut. You know what's going to be on the quiz, which what time we done? 10:30?
10:40.
Okay, listen. We got to go over combining like terms.
Yeah.
I went pretty quick through that because I thought, this shouldn't. but it proved to be by the way, your quizzes or your tests it proved to be a pretty big, much more of a challenge than I thought it was going to be. When you combine, look, I know I'm going off track here, but I got to put this on the quiz tomorrow because you got to study it again. 2x plus x minus 1. We'll start with a real simple one. Combine like terms. How can I make that expression smaller? Lauren.
3x plus negative 3x minus 1.
3x minus 1. What did she do? She can't combine the 1 with an x term. They're not the same. They're not like. Preston, you understand that?
Yes.
You can only combine like terms. You can only combine x's with x's, y's with y's, or constants with constants. So this is 3 terms down to 2. Does that make sense to everyone? Okay, why doesn't that make sense? Do you see that x terms are like?
That, but I don't get how you got, like, how do you determine between if it's plus or minus?
Oh.
It's plus.
No, for minus 1, how do you determine that it's minus 1? Why can't it be
It's
plus?
minus.
Because we can't go x negative 1.
Hold on. Wait. How do you, I didn't determine it. That was the problem that was given to me. It's minus 1.
I know, but I got that wrong.
Okay, but I'm trying to understand why you're saying, how do I determine whether it's minus 1 or not? Because it is. I'm not trying to be, to blow you off. I'm saying, you asked me, how do I determine whether that's plus or minus 1? I don't determine. That's the problem they gave me. All I did was take the 2 plus 1x, 3x.
Can you do it harder?
Yes, I'm going to. But you got to get this first. This is the simplest I can do it. This is the simplest I can show you how to combine like terms. Put 2 x's together. Don't combine them with the constant.
I got the combining. I just don't get how you...
Well, you want me to go to a harder one, and you're acting like you don't get that yet.
I do get
Okay,
that, but-
get that?
Yeah.
Okay, now watch this.
I-
2x plus x plus y minus 1. Now what? It's almost exactly the same thing. I can only combine like terms. What's it going to look like, Preston?
3x
I can combine the x's, 3x
plus 1
plus y, it's the only y term,
minus 1.
minus 1. I can't combine the x term and the y term because they're not like. So I went from 4 terms down to 3. A little harder. Let's do another one. 2x plus x plus y plus 4y minus 1. I can only combine like terms. Set. 3x, 2 plus 1.
5y
5y, 4 plus 1,
and
minus 1. You see what I'm doing, Dina? I took you from the very simplest way to explain it, just combine the x's. Then I added another letter, can't combine it. Now I've got 2 things I can combine. I can combine x's, and I can combine y's.
I understand that.
You understand that so far?
I don't understand it.
Okay, focus on this for a second. Because this was, listen, this section, it was at the top of page 2, was 80% missed. 80% missed on the test. Even after giving it back to you and fixing it, it was still almost 50% missed. Okay, one more time. Watch this. 2x plus x plus y plus 4y minus 1 plus 2. I can only combine like terms, Lauren.
It'll be
Some people aren't paying attention. Go ahead.
3x
2x plus 1x, 3x.
plus 5y
1y plus 4y, 5y.
Plus 1.
Negative 1 plus 2 plus 1. There you go. I can only combine x's together, y's together, constants together. Yes?
So, look, for the first one,
Yep.
if you were to make the 2 a 3, would it be 4x?
Of course.
And if you were to add another x, would it be 4x?
Yep.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Because you got 2 x's here and 1 x there. 3 x's.
Okay.
You got 2 x's here, 1 x there. It's 3 x's. You got 1 y here and 4 y there. 5 y's. I combined, in this one, I combined the x terms, the y terms, and the constant numbers. Negative 1 plus 2 is plus 1. Okay. I got to put one of those on the quiz tomorrow. Now, back to Dina and number 8 that's on the board. Look. Subtract 7 from what? Why did I write n divided by 2? Because they said subtract it from the quotient of a number and 2. Do you see? That's why I wrote n divided by 2, because what's going to give me the quotient? Division problem. Not yet. Okay. I'll tackle 9, but we got to get this down before the story problem. You get that? But our sister Dina doesn't get.
Where did you get 1 times 2?
Where did I get 1 times 2?
I feel like I know where you got 1.
Okay, once I added the 7 to both sides, you get that? Now, how do I undo the 2? It's n divided by 2. I must multiply by
So that's 2.
both sides. What?
Well, you did that on
Well, let's see if number 9 works out that way. Yes?
Is number supposed to have a variable on it? Because I don't. I
Is-
thought it might. Because I think I got it right.
Did you say does number 9 have a variable? Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Because the unknown, they're asking you at the end, how many sandwiches on rye bread were sold yesterday? You don't know yet. That's what you want to find out. You want to find out how many sandwiches were sold on rye bread yesterday. Did anybody do 9 yet?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
What'd you get for your equation? I don't want to hear the answer, Dominic. I want to know, I want you to translate that whole paragraph into algebra. Shh. Listen.
10x plus 20 equals 70.
Wait.
Is that where one?
That's 10.
Oh, wait. What number is it?
9.
Oh, I didn't write.
Bella?
16 minus 28 over 2.
Yes, but how do you write that? You end up in the right place
Yeah.
because you're doing it arithmetically. We want to do it algebraically. Because what you just said is what's going to end up happening. All right, Z, ready? One day, 60 sandwiches were sold in total. Hello? 60 were sold in total. If I'm going to write an equation, what's the first clue I got? My total is going to be, come on, follow me here. Let's break this down. One day, 60 sandwiches were sold in total. Something's going to add up to 60. You with me? Okay. Some on rye bread, some on white bread. The number of sandwiches sold on rye bread, what's the question? Go to the bottom of the question, the last paragraph, the last sentence, I mean. What do they want to know? They want to know how many were sold on rye. So is it okay if I let R equal rye bread? Who said no?
Yeah.
Let's make our variable R. I want to know how many sandwiches were sold on rye. What did they tell me about, I'm going fast. What did they tell me about rye bread? They said the number of sandwiches sold on rye is twice the number sold the day before. The number of sandwiches on white bread is 28. How many were sold on rye bread yesterday, which is the day before, right? It's twice the number sold the day before. The number of sandwiches on white is 28. So I'm gonna write twice the number yesterday, plus, how many were sold on white? 28. How many were sold in total? That's why I started with, the total's gonna be 60. How many were sold in total?
60.
How many were on white?
28.
I wouldn't.
Yeah.
28 were sold on white. They told me that there was twice as many sold on rye. So 2R.
What?
2R minus 28 equals divide by 2. How many figured out that it was going to be 16, but we're not quite there yet, writing it as a equation?
32. Said it's 16. I said 16 minus 28 equals R.
See, Bella, when she raised her hand, she said it's going to be 60 minus 28 divided by 2, which is actually what ended up happening. 60 minus 28 divided by 2. Well, we need to get you to where you're taking that English and translating it into algebra 7 through 20. Sorry, gotta go. Do your best. Don't come in here tomorrow. Remember this story I told you in 5th grade where the kid would just write down a bunch of numbers and say, I did my homework? If you give it your best shot and you don't get them right, that's acceptable. But just to kind of like say, I'll write anything and say I did my homework. No. The bell didn't ring, did it? Hold up, sit. 34. Seats. I got 2 minutes in. When is it? Probably. Where's Stacy? Email. Correct. How many? P5, enough. No. Richard. Negative 2 degrees outside.
She's got highlights.
If it's 2 degrees, negative 2, it goes up 4 degrees. 4, if it's 3, it goes up 3. Like this. 1. Negative 2. Come in here.
That's
Hey, who's there? Hey.
Oh, it's mine, and now I only have one of those. Amelia, good
You
morning.
understand everything?
Oh man, now I need
Dina, that's most of your battle.
Really?
Yourself. Dina, do you remember Hero?
What?
Remember Hero?
No.
Hero.
I'm gonna try and figure out this problem.
Start one.
2 times plus x
How do you not remember that story?
times. I know. No, I'm pretty sure.
Go seats.
That's my. That's super.
What?
Jacob, the kid from Beaver Love was probably taller than Mr. Franken.
Oh,
yeah, at least. But like, he's probably almost as tall as